asked a lot what is the difference between a probiotic, a prebiotic, and a symbiotic. And so I thought I'd take a few moments today just to go over what each of these terms mean for those of you who might be interested in learning more and have been thinking about supplementing your diet with one of these products. So whether it be that you are just trying to maintain a healthier gut, or maybe you've come off of a round of antibiotics that has sort of decimated your gut microbiome, or maybe you're undergoing chemotherapy or some other treatment that is having an impact on your gut and you're not feeling quite right. And so your doctor or your friends have suggested you try a probiotic. And so what they're suggesting is taking a pill or like finding a food that has bacteria supplemented into it, so that you take these in hopes that they restore, that they colonize, and that they restore what might be missing in your intestine. And so basically the definition of a probiotic is a living microorganism, so that could be a bacteria or a fungus or something that is taken at an adequate dose will confer some sort of health benefit. And so the definition is very vague, and we can talk a little bit more about probiotics in another session of this, because there's a lot of caveats that come along with taking a probiotic, and a lot of things that we still don't know and don't understand in the scientific field in regards to probiotics. But there are foods out there with these probiotic bacteria in them, and definitely if you're feeling like out of whack, if your guts don't feel quite right, maybe you want to try a product that has these probiotic bacteria to try to restore some sort of gut health. A prebiotic, on the other hand, isn't so much taking an organism, something that's already alive and not like inside of you, but it's actually feeding the good bacteria that are already present inside of your intestine. So a prebiotic is a food source, or providing nutrients to those healthy bugs that are already in your intestine. And a lot of times when we're talking about prebiotics, what we really mean is just undigestible fibers that you can find in a lot of vegetables, leafy green vegetables, cabbage, things like that. These are great sources of prebiotics that are natural and that you can take and you can cook it with, and you can eat, and you can prepare for your families or for yourself, and you ingest these, and that will provide this really good source of nutrients to the bacteria that are already present in your gut. Our bodies can't digest some of these fibers, that's why they're called undigestible fibers, but the bacteria in our guts can digest them and feed off of them and thrive. And lastly, a synbiotic. So a synbiotic would be the best of both worlds. It's the probiotic and the prebiotic packaged together and delivered to your intestines. And so a good example of a synbiotic product would be a fermented food. So a fermented food is, when you take a vegetable and you add salt and you let it ferment over a certain period of time. And in that fermentation process, what happens is bacteria kind of come and go, but then you get colonization of that fermented food with one single or maybe two types of probiotic bacteria. So cabbage and kimchi and things like that will have bacteria that are associated with them that are actually very good for you. And because of the cabbage in the sauerkraut or the kimchi, that provides a really great source of prebiotic because of those fibers that are make up the cabbage. And so that's a great example of a symbiotic product. Some people use an analogy when they try to talk about probiotics, prebiotics, and symbiotics as like your intestine is a garden. And if you think about that, then you have all these flowers in your garden that you might want to add a different color flower to make it a little bit more vibrant or to make it look healthier. And so you go to the store and you buy a flower and you come home and you plant that in your garden. Well, that's the same thing as taking a probiotic, where you go to the store, you're finding a product that has a bacteria in it, and then you're ingesting it hoping that it colonizes and provides some sort of health benefit to your body in your intestines. A prebiotic would be applying fertilizer to that garden. So you're not planting anything, you're just feeding the bacteria or the plants that are already present. That's the same thing as taking a prebiotic to feed the bacteria that are already in your gut. And lastly, a symbiotic would be if you found some sort of flower that had a fertilizer associated with it, that when you planted it, it also would feed the flowers around it, so that you're getting both a probiotic and a prebiotic source of helping your gut there. So basically, that's the definitions of these three terms. I know that it can be kind of confusing, and we have to be careful because the health food market out there, like the probiotic market, is about $54 billion right now. So there's a lot of products out there with claiming to have probiotic properties and that have bacteria associated with them. And so I just recommend that everybody reads their label very carefully and uses common sense when sort of addressing these, looking at these products and finding the one that might be right for them. We'll have a few more videos coming up that discuss probiotics and sort of the ins and outs of them and how to find one that might be right for you and if they even work, because in some cases, you know, it takes some time to find one that could be right for you. So we'll address those issues and some other fun stuff about the gut in some of these videos coming up. But I just wanted to first kick this off with sort of a definition of these three very important products that are out there that can really have an impact on your gut and your gut health. So until next time, thanks.